I had got so depressed one day, so depressed, because I loved my job, I loved the people, and I loved serving the people, but I was now banished almost. I was the worst officer on the department. I was just chastised all the time.
Persecuted all the time, because I would go out into the street, and I remember one day when 2 IRS agents came into my beat area and said, "Your chief told us to have you help us take this man's business." And I said, "I'm here to do my job.
I'll help you go take that man's business if you'll just show me your paperwork." Yeah. Their eyes got big. They looked at me like they'd just seen a ghost. And they say, "What do you mean you want to see our paperwork? We're IRS agents," and they showed me their badges. "We're from Washington, D.C., and we've got to go take this business over here, and your chief says you're going to go help us." I said, "And I will. I promise you I will, if you'll show me your paperwork." And so they fished around and finally pulled out a crumpled up couple white sheets of paper and said, here's our seizure notices and everything. And I looked over and I said, "Hey, this is a little strange." I said, "This is a little bit perplexing." I said, "You're Harold and you're Jones. And I said, "Your names are at the bottom of these seizure notices." And they said, "Yeah, our name's at the bottom of it. We're here to seize this property for the United States government." I said, "Let me show you something." Let me show you something. Powerful, powerful. God-inspired, powerful. And they said, "What is this? What is this little book?" And I said, "Well, wait a minute, let me show you." I said, read right there. It's in the book." And they said, "What's the book?" I said, "It's the U.S. Constitution." You would have thought that they just saw the cross. Because they shrunk back when I said it was the U.S. Constitution. Where did you get that? I said, "Out of my back pocket." Oh, is there power in this? And they said, "Well, we don't want to hear about the Constitution." I said, "Read that." And they read it, and it said that it would be signed by what? A magistrate, based on probable cause. Signed by a magistrate. And I said, "Who signed these papers?" And they said, "We signed them." "Which one of you are the magistrates?" No, there was not a magistrate among us. Powerful. So I put my Constitution in my back pocket and I said, "Listen, you guys, I know you mean well. I know you're doing the best you can do and you got a tough job. But I'm going to tell you this. My sergeant, my lieutenant, my captain have told me that I have to uphold my oath of office, which I took to the American people, not to government. And you took the same oath." And they looked at me. They didn't know what to say. And I said, "You guys get out of my beat. And don't you come back until you know what your oath of office says, and you're going to support your oath of office just like me." And I sent them out of that beat, and they disappeared, and that man's business was saved that day from an unlawful act, a criminal act on the part of our government.